absence, so we'll just skip that. Discussion of potential TIF project, authorizing preparation of documents and setting a public hearing date. You have in your packet TIF application from Oppidan Inc. And we have with us Tom Ryan from Oppidan, their developer, looking at creating a large retail establishment, and have requested TIF assistance. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to him and let him kind of brief the board on the project.
Thanks for the time tonight, guys.
Sure.
Tom Ryan again with Oppidan. We're a national developer, work with a number of different retailers, and develop many projects for like I said, many different clients. But well, the reason we're here today is for got these on the big board. These are a few examples.
Thanks, Greg.
But Shopko hometown, or Shopko, the company, has some interest in locating here in town, and this is the site that they're interested in. As you can see, this is a store which completed in Cokato. This is one in Cherokee, Iowa. We're currently building one in Ord, and finished one in Valentine in 2013. So we're requesting a TIF package to make it. We pass that directly through to our client. It just makes their rent, they're a very rent sensitive client, makes their rent a little bit easier for them to handle, and makes the deal work. So that's the reason for the TIF assistance in that request. Otherwise, I'd love to answer any individual questions you guys have.
So you're the developer of the property, not with Shopko, is that the way it works?
That's correct, yes. We're Oppidan and is the developer. Shopko would be our tenant. We would sign a lease with them. We have not yet signed a lease with them, but this is our due diligence period,
Okay.
seeing if we have a viable deal.
You own the property and the building then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And Oppidan is traditionally a merchant developer, meaning that we would look to sell the property at the end of the development process to a REIT or an individual investor, someone who wants to hold that asset long term.
Okay.
As a developer, you become a property manager pretty quickly once you have your cash in multiple deals. You need to pull that back out and put it into Mexico. So
Okay.
that's the reason for that.
Questions?
Do we know what's going into the Shopko? As far as, is there a pharmacy? Do you have any of those kinds of?
There will be as a part of, sorry for the cameras. As a part of the development, there will be a drive-through component for a pharmacy area. So we do build that out for them, but they don't, whether they choose to operate one or not is up to them. Of the 5 we just opened, they opened a pharmacy in one of those. Typically what they like to do is get a sense of the local community. If there's which there normally is a local pharmacist in town, they look to either partner with them or decide that it's not viable and use the space for something else. But we will build it out, but I can't say that I can't say 100% one way or the other whether it'll be right or not.
We have 2 pharmacies in town, and some of us have concerns about competition.
And I don't think adding a third would be an option for them.
Yeah.
Just speaking from what I know about their model.
At what stage of this whole process will we know that, if they plan to have a?
They have that option. They always have that option, and so there's never any certainty unless they end up acquiring or making a deal with one of the existing pharmacies in town.
Okay.
Then they're certainly going to be opening one, but they don't like to cold start. They like to do a file buy or a
Not again, I think they,
That's right. They
yeah,
were
I think
approached
they
at
were,
one point.
I think that's, I think that they got their answer and they're,
Right.
hey, not really interested.
Okay.
I haven't followed up with them, but, I would be surprised if they contacted them again.
Okay.
The one at Ord is not gonna have an active pharmacy, from what I understand, or can you make?
I think that's correct. You know, it's under construction, so again, they may, but I don't think they haven't made any deals with any local pharmacists.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, that's typically what they like to do. It's an expensive business to start up when they're not sure if they can even acquire the business.
Okay.
So,
You just walk through timing, on your part.
yes, absolutely. Timing, we'd like to be in the ground, April 15th. And we'd like to be, and if that's the case, the store will be, their cold opening will be on November 6th. So that's the schedule that would go into the lease, but, yeah, we'd like to start construction, as I said, mid-April, and, we would have the thing built by September, and they would do their build out, their internal fixturing and their merchandising, which would be ready for a 11/6/16 open.
And so there are any plans for the rest of the property, land and that?
That's what I've talked to. Have you briefed them at all with those discussions? Okay, so with the rest of the property, as I'm not sure the familiarity with the infrastructure here, but there needs to be a loop made for us to have, for our fire suppression system to have adequate pressure. And so what Greg and I have talked about and just had the discussion is we would donate the remaining land back to the city, and for that the city would bring those utilities, make that loop, because I think it terminates here and here.
7th Street and then it goes to the Boy Scout cabin.
Right. So to complete that loop, so we, again, that's a large part of us having a viable project, and thought it was a good solution when you brought up the fact that this would be land that the city would be interested in owning just for future development possibilities.
And that'll ultimately be something that has to go past the city council. And then, I mean, that really has nothing to do with us. Ownership might end up in the CRA's lap, but.
So as far as starting the building and everything, like in the rest of that land, there won't be any streets or anything?
Not at this point. If the city did acquire the property, then we could start having the city engineer doing some build outs.
And you could, yeah, to your point, you could certainly see, you didn't want multiple accesses here off of Wiley. You could very easily work with us if it was quickly, or whoever owned the property at the time, and work on some sort of an easement to build an access road here, or however you guys wanted to lay that out.
Are you concerned about the floodplain there?
No, because it's been delineated, and so.
I see, but
I know, and I understand. The building will be built to, to Nebraska standards, to our engineering standards. So it'll be built to an elevation that is, not in the floodplain and not at risk. I mean, you can't say that be right next to a floodplain. Might the lot flood at some point? Sure, or the building itself. Hopefully not. But you're talking about 200-year flood or something.
sure. I just can't remember.
There was very, very little water just in that one corner.
And now the 1,000
4
year
years
flood,
ago.
4 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Well, and yeah, there's that over here. I believe there's one more over here. So we're not concerned with that. There was just, obviously, if we were going to build in this area, we would have to raise the site a certain amount.
Sure.
And And with that land deal, we talked about taking the property line from here and just going like that with it. Again, it's floodplain, but it is land, and that would be land that you could, you can put streets, you can put parking in the floodplain, you just can't build a building in it, so.
So is there a zoning issue? No.
Well, it's zoned, it's currently zoned industrial, and one of the uses of industrial can be commercial, business commercial. So
Okay.
it's kind of a stair-step zone where you can always go up, but industrial couldn't be in business commercial.
So what do you need from us tonight?
What we need is to set a hearing date, a public hearing date, and then authorize us to start preparing attorney documents, or the attorney to start preparing documents. With their trying to be in the ground in April, I'd say we have plenty of time to be able to do this by March. The only issue is that the city council meets the week before our regularly scheduled meeting. So I would suggest that we have a special meeting a week early, to be the date before the council meeting. So rather than meeting on the 14th, to meet on March 7th, would be my recommendation.
Okay.
And that should give us plenty of time to get public notices out, and plenty of time for the attorney to be able to draft the documents, get them to you to review, get them back to us, make sure that they're documents that we can live with.
Okay.
So we'll need two separate motions. One to authorize the preparation of documents, and then one to set a public hearing date with the actual date and time of the motion.